Going to see about finishing Snackbar. Well, finishing, work on it a little more. Probably the more accurate way to say it. If you were with me yesterday, you'll know that I started on putting in the Snackbar area. If you were, then you'll notice that I've pretty much cut it in, not quite in half, just a little over half still left, but I've shortened it a considerable amount. What I did is I went through and thought about what kind of machines or foods that I wanted to put out, and you know, thinking about, okay, this would be where the trays are, this is the stuff that you would say, okay, I want this, and then you get served that and you put it on your tray, and then some of the other things, and then having like the drinks, the self-serve, where you grab a cup and you put out what you want. So after I figured out what all I wanted, then I thought, well, I don't really need all of the space that I had allotted myself, so I've shortened it up a bit. Kind of added in a lot of little doodads like the soda machine, incorporated some little bits to make it look like a self-serve type of deal. Where I left off was setting up the little part where you like say I want this or want that. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and finish installing the lighting though, because with it getting dark here, it's kind of hard to see. Annoying to work with when you don't have the lighting. So I think it's the notes, which I don't have any more of, so I need about 4 more, I think. I'll just put those out right here. Sometimes, like on my previous plot where I didn't really have a lot of lighting installed and I wasn't planning to put a lot of lighting, you kind of put one in and enlarge it, and it gives you some light to work by, and then you just get rid of it later. Let's see if the copy paste works today better than it did yesterday. Been a lot of discussion about it in the housing forums, people having issues with the copy paste and the linked decor issues. I've had a little bit of all of it. It's frustrating, and you know, I can sympathize with those that feel like it's pretty much game breaking for them. But I turn that one off. It's not game breaking for me, it's just a little more time consuming working with the pieces that just aren't going where you want them, where you would expect them to go when you do a copy paste, or just resizing them and moving them. So, oops. I've put in my 2 cents worth about my experiences, the troubles I've been having, and what I think might be causing. I think most of the issues are related to the bunker house. Whether that is actually the case or not, if it's something else, maybe the bunker house issues that we had previously, they fixed them, but then it's worked up something else that's not really specifically related. It just happens to have come to light now that they've dug around in there for the other issue. I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping with this hinted at housing drop that they've been kind of implying will be coming eventually. I'm hoping a lot of these quirky issues will be sorted out. You know, I don't expect everything to work 100% of the time, but it would be nice if it worked most of the time. Then it wouldn't be such a horror when it didn't. It would just be kind of a, oh man, and then just move on. But as it is, it gets to the point where sometimes I avoid the copy paste for a while if it goes wonky too much in a row, because it becomes too frustrating, and I don't want to come to dislike messing around in housing, because I really do enjoy it. It's just sometimes it doesn't go like you want. Okay, so what I've been trying to do is think about things that you might find at like a little snack bar cafeteria thing. I wanted to get away with using the pre-made stuff, but I also wanted to add some extra details, so you can see that I've included some slices of pizza in one area. And for here, I was planning on setting up some different little sections where it had like the salad, maybe the dressing, or a pot of soup, which I was going to check out the, I think it's the brew, witch's brew, if I have one. To have like a bubbling pot of soup, hot soup, that I could put down in there. If I can make it small enough and fit it. You see the size, I think, may be an issue. I'm not sure. Yeah, like have a cold soup and a hot soup, something along those lines. And I realized that the dish that it's in is a little different, and maybe I can put one up under there and it kind of cover up the green of the cauldron there. But see, I'm gonna change this out. I thought about, you know, maybe is that pickle slices or something that could be put on the salad. I'm not quite sure what I might could use for like tomatoes or something. But I'm going to move this one to the front and have the hot one in the back. Let's see how that looks. Is the item I used for the round part is the silver keg. The item you can make through architecture, so it's pretty easy to get a hold of, especially if you're an architect yourself. But it's something that you could probably get a buddy to make for you. Okay, so that looks like it's going to be a little weak with the extra bit below. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this one. Probably could get like the exact coordinates, but I'm just going to eyeball it for now, because again, I want to avoid the copy paste where I can, because I already know that it kind of acts a little odd. So yeah, there you have a pot of hot soup for someone, and then I don't know, a dip or guacamole or something. I was having a difficult time finding objects that are round and a solid color. I tried to use like the chew-up stool, but it had like, I don't know, Band-Aid or strips of something on the top, and it looked a little funny. And I couldn't get the sizing just right, at least not to my taste, so I changed that up. But we're going to go ahead and add a couple of more of the silver kegs to kind of fill in. And I'm also, I have some cauldrons, I think, yeah, that I might use a couple of if I can get them down to a good size. Let's see what that looks like for just a different kind of bowl, dish, or whatever. See what it looks like. No. Yeah, I was afraid that it might be too big. So we won't use that, but for someone else that has something similar set up that has a little more room to work with, maybe they could get away with using the drake and cauldrons instead. So let's do the silver. Go in my inventory here. These things pop in really big, so put them to the side here. May wish I had made 2 more, but we'll go with just the 6 altogether for starters. Now, earlier when I was doing some of this, I had trouble with the copy paste on these particular things, so we'll see how it works. So far, so good. Fingers crossed it stays that way. Yeah, there it goes. All the way over there. It doesn't seem to matter if I use the object orientation or the world orientation. I've tried it both, and I don't know, it just doesn't want to work all the time. Just like you saw, the height usually set wrong. Size is usually right. Doesn't appear to be this time, but no, there it goes. Positioning it wrong, but for whatever reason, the rest just kind of go bizarro. Like it's a little off. Well, so it's kind of overflowing on in the dish, but that's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be. You know, maybe it's not salad, maybe it's just seaweed or something. I don't know. But I want some other colors because I thought about using the pickles, but I already have a good spot of green here. So maybe something else, some other color. So I'm just gonna go through the decor that I have and see if I can find something that's round shaped, relatively flat. Because if it's like a round, like a sphere, then it'll be like bulby. You know, you don't want that. You want it to be kind of level, to give that illusion that it's filling the container rather than picking up from it. Of course, you know, if you're using like fruits or something, that might have a piled effect, but for like a liquid or something, or slices of something, then you need it to be more flat. So I'm just going through, kind of checking out what kind of items I might could get away with using and how they will look and what I can pretend they are. And just throwing them out, and I'll be testing them here shortly just to see how it looks. Got a lot of junk in here. And you kind of have to go through all of them. You don't want to just limit yourself to the cookware and the bar stuff. You know, a lot of different things have a lot of different uses, so you can get away with using them in other ways than they're actually intended to be used. So don't be afraid to check out everything. Time consuming because you know got to go through it all, especially if you have a robust crate like I do, but you just want to make sure you cover all the bases. See? Like maybe the orange window with the yellow is something. I don't know. Even the cup of tea, that could be another smoking kind of effect. You need it, just size it up. In fact, maybe I'll do that for the green one to make it a hot soup as well. I don't know. Part of the trouble with going through your junk, because then you think, hey, that might work for something, and keep adding to it, getting a little more complicated. You can see that I've already hit well over the halfway mark as far as decor allowed for the exterior. So while I still have a lot of legroom, I'm going to have to really be watching myself as far as how elaborate I go. I started off thinking I won't get too elaborate with the kitchen part, but kind of hard not to, because you just think of, well, this would be cool to have, and you know, why can't I do that? And wouldn't they have this there, and that kind of thing, and it just kind of spirals. Keeps going, just keeps going. Probably thinking, why would you about that? But I don't know. I like to experiment with different items, so the best way to do it is just to put it out there and then play with it and see what you get. That's gross. I've used the intestines as bait for like a fishing scene before. It's kind of disgusting to use it actually as, you know, an item in the kitchen. I've done it before, but it's not exactly the prettiest thing. I think I've got a hanging lizard in here somewhere as well. Yeah, there's the lizard. Some of these I'm skipping over because I kind of know what it looks like, and that it won't be either be too big or not the right color. But I have a lot of green things for whatever reason. There's a lot of green and brown, and I want something that'll stand out nicely against the you know, something that's like bright red, bright yellow, purple even maybe. But doesn't seem to be too much of that around, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Sometimes, you know, especially if someone else is asking, you know, hey, what do you think I could use for this? I don't have any problem whatsoever throwing out a bunch of ideas, but when it comes to my own, I kind of draw a blank. I don't know why that is, but that's how it works for me. So I spend a lot of time just going over and over and over stuff, looking for those things. And not only do I check my crate, Then if I don't find anything in my crate, then I go through the entire housing vendor list, and if I don't find anything there, then I revert to the Living in WildStar site. And while the site is no longer being updated for quite some time now, it's still a handy place to find a good many images, and it just kind of gives me ideas about certain things. It also lets me know maybe how I can acquire it. Excuse me. Yeah, see, I don't know. Would I use those as like cookies or something, or I don't know what that might could represent. I thought about doing a little rotisserie for the barbecued piglet thing, and I tried using the forge vent, but my countertop here is a little too narrow, so it outsized it quite a bit, and I had to toss that idea. But like I said, for other people that are working on this thing, those kind of ideas might work for them with the decor that we have, based on how they set their own kitchen up. Street pink. I had also considered maybe making instead of going with like hot foods and stuff, I thought about maybe making an ice cream setup, having the round buckets and the scoops, and having some cones and stuff. But the more I tried to work it out in my head how it was going to work, the less appealing it seemed. It might be something I try to tackle later, or maybe me talking about it will give somebody else the idea to give it a try. But I just couldn't completely come to any solid ideas on how to like do the cones and stuff. About the only like cone-ish kind of thing we have is the mystical creature's hat, and that's bright red. You could probably pass it off as a cone if you put the little dollops of ice cream on top, if you found a way to put something on there that like the large files or whatever. But for me, it just kind of seemed a little time consuming going through all that stuff. And sometimes it can be disappointing because you'll go through and you think, okay, I found everything that might possibly work. Then you try it, and then they don't work like you think or like you hope. And then you're kind of at a stalemate. Okay, what do I do now? What can I use? You just kind of cross your fingers that whatever it is you picked out something will work. I've used the plastic coins. I've used those as cookies before. Different colored cookies. I thought about making little shish kebabs. I've done that before. In fact, I did that for a guild thing that I built for the barbecue outing. I shrunk them down and put like 3 or 4 in a row on the grill, and that's shish kebabs of some sort. And it worked. I mean, who cares if the little pig was like the size of a rat? But a lot of this, you just kind of go with your imagination on what you can put together. And maybe set out some pieces of toast. Maybe. I think We're coming down to the last of it. Wooden. Yeah. So let's see what some of this looks like. I don't know if this has got a red bottom or a black one. Looks like both red and black. I don't think that'll work. Pretty much, you know. But maybe these are like cinnamon rolls or something. Spicy cinnamon rolls. Those on a plate. Little container here. And yeah, those are nice cinnamon rolls or weird little snail cakes or something. And again, maybe these are pickles or something. I don't know. Let's do a couple more of the sleeping bag. Alright. It's 3. I like 3. I don't know. Seems to be a magic number for me. Because if you go to 5, then it seems that you're just putting in extras that you don't need. And 1 or 2 seems too few, and anything above 5 seems way overboard. It disappeared. I don't know. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's just. And I'm afraid to hit cancel, which is used to be what I could do to get it back to where it should be. But yesterday when I was doing that, it would just cancel it, but then it'd leave it out there, and then I'd have a hard time finding it again. Oops. So stop doing that. And dealing with thing not going where it should be. Where are you? Yeah, it's like cinnamon rolls or I don't know, some strange little cakes. I'm gonna say cinnamon rolls. That's what it looks like to me. And that's what it reminds me. It might be better if they were brown colored rather than blue, but you know, this is WildStar. We're gonna have some exotic looking cinnamon roll. Base roll. Maybe they're pinwheels of some sort. I was here at home. My son calls them, well, I make pizzas, pinwheels, and he calls them sushi pizza. I absolutely no idea why. How that reminds him of sushi. I'm completely unaware how we come to that, but that's what he calls it. Okay, so add in a couple more green pillows here. In fact, I happen to have the 3 that I, the 2 extras to make 3 for my magic 3 numbers. And let's tilt these a little bit, give them a little bit of. They're not all having to lay flat. Just checking that it's not floating in the air, because sometimes I'll go to put something down and I think it's, flat to the surface, and then it's like hovering a bit. It makes it look a little strange. Now, is this one going to land where I want it, or is it going to go floating? Whew, lucked out. Yay. We're going to tilt this one a little bit as well. And pile it in there. looks alright. We'll just drop it. But now that it looks like it's not, it doesn't have to necessarily be centered, but I get kind of odd about that sometimes, so I'm going to move it over just a little bit. There, I've got some kind of, I don't know, pickles or cucumbers or little dumplings or something. Now I have to figure out what am I going to put here. And got a lot of green, so I want to try and avoid the green. Stop adding the green. So I need to find something, I don't know, bright. Got a blue. We could use a red. Some red or pink. Red or pink. Let's see. I'm gonna check the site. See if there's anything that pops. Sometimes it's quicker to look at the site because then you get like a whole string of pictures all at once. Maybe the pumpkin hasn't flat enough. I'm worried that the root that it has is going to be a problem. I really think that probably will be so. Like that. What else? What else? I want to avoid stuff that looks gray or stony because, again, that's already prevalent on the surface and the containers itself. So we want something else. Containers. Nope. Let's see. Maybe one of the other bowls. Inverted or something. Maybe it'll have a. This has an orange, but I think it's gray on the bottom as well. And that'll just look weird. I guess the plates would be the same. I don't think any of the ships would work. Yeah, I think it's just. Let's see, bottle. Used that one already. Why did the grass go away? I moved that accidentally? A little bit. Got a brain of its own. Let me see if this was gonna work. Okay. You know, those kind of look like the cinnamon rolls too, don't they? I think they might be a little too cumbersome with the metal around it. We're gonna see how it works. Maybe we've got two different kinds of cinnamon rolls. That'd be alright, wouldn't it? Some kind of weird log food. Oops. Thinking it too far. Got a little bit of the other. What does that look like? Looks like weirdness. I'd much prefer to get several of the pieces to show up than to have just the one, because then that would mean I would need to have several of these. I need to check poking out at all. Yeah, that looks, I don't know, is that an onion? Maybe it's an onion, sliced onion. I don't know. We'll go with it for now until I think of something else or want to try something else. Yeah, you have all of the fruit bowls, and then unlink that. Move them in a little bit. Just rearranging just the little touches here and there. And maybe a couple of forks. It's like some serving tongs or something. Probably, you know, better if I was to be like checking what the angle is and everything. I'm just eyeballing it. I do that a lot, so like I said, it's not the most accurate way to go about it, but initially when I put something together, I just kind of take it in to start with, and then as it comes together, then I start tweaking it a little more specifically. I'll be looking at the angle to see just how off I am, and if it's really bad, then I'll straighten it up like so. You know, I'll leave the one angle right because I want it to be like tongs, but just kind of clean up the other bits. Probably not exactly how a tong would look, but you get the idea, the impression of what it's supposed to be. Anyway, I used books for the trays because I know I could get away with probably using some windows or possibly backs of some pictures and stuff, but I wanted something that would stand out really good against the gray of the cabinet, so I went with a few books. I don't know if it comes off really well, but in my head it tries, so you know. If it doesn't to somebody else's, oh well. I need to clean up a bit. Same with the work here. They look a little sunken. I guess I adjusted the height of the cabinet later and forgot to adjust the other. Apparently that's thinking. Now, part of this, when like I said, I had originally built this out almost double what it is now. And so I had half of it over here and half of it over here. And when I moved the one half to get closer, I linked a lot of things up And some of it moved correctly, other parts didn't, so it was a big hassle to try and merge everything together like I wanted. Anyway, for the napkin holders, it's basically just more books. Whether people will actually get that that's what those are without me telling them, I don't know, but that was my best wiki representation of those little napkin holders that you get. The soda machine is basically just one of those Gatorade machines flipped on its side, and I wanted like the 3 brands to have their own little dispenser, and then just added some soda cups. This is actually the dresser that's got like the socks hanging out of it. In fact, you can see that on the other side here. Where to go around. Yeah, the little socks or something hanging out. But I'm pretending like they're like, I don't know, bags of chips or little candies or something. I would have loved if I could get maybe I'll eventually do that, get a second one so that I can have 2 of those, but for now I'm going to leave it as is. The popcorn was, as others saw yesterday, is basically just a replica Dragon Horde, I think it's called. And just kind of stuffed in there to fill in the yellow so it's not as noticeable as a gap of space there. It's actually it's a picture, the one that used to be BOP. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Anyway, it's a yellow color, or golden, and so I snuck that in there just to kind of fill in the space. Added some bowls for those that want to order a bowl of popcorn. And because it's sticking out considerably in the back end, I added a little gutter tray to catch the overflow so that it, wouldn't cause a spill. And of course, I've added Mr. WildStar here. He's our checkout guy. I went ahead and got a little bit fancy with the storage under here, just to break it up a little bit from just constant crates. He's got his monies and boxes, whatever. I thought about putting a little gun there, but I thought, nah, they're not gonna be rude. Charge you more or something. So I'm gonna put in the rest of these grates here, and then I think, at least for the time being, I think we'll be done with this part of the eating. Next, I'm going to work on the seating of the main tables. I may put in some extras that don't have the parasols over top, but for now, I'm going to leave it just the 3 main ones with plenty of seating, and probably go ahead and install the roof. I could technically just leave it open, but if I put in an actual ceiling of some sort, then I will have an excuse to anchor some lighting and maybe put in a couple of big chandeliers or something to give it some good lighting when it gets dark here. So I don't know, it's just some thoughts that go through my brain. Been checking the forums pretty regularly the last day or so because I've been expecting Carbine to make I guess what we call a big announcement about something, because there's a lot of chatter on the forums. Not all of it good, most of it's pretty negative, really. In fact, I have a lot of guildmates that have grown fairly concerned about how things are going to go. my point of view is, wait for the announcement, wait for word from. I hate all of the speculation. I mean, it's one thing to speculate. Well, okay, we know there's an update coming, like another content drop or something, and maybe we know of some things from the PTR that are actually positively going to be in it, but they make it clear that not everything is listed in the PTR notes. So it's okay from my perspective to speculate, okay, what things maybe we will see that they haven't shown us yet. But to speculate on whether the game's going to go bye-bye or if payment model is going to change, to me that's not productive for one, and it's not it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't resolve any of the issues that we may or may not feel like there are. All it does is fuel the fear and the worries, and it fuels a lot of people's anger and stuff, because I realize that a lot of people feel fully invested in this game, and I think it's pretty clear. I spend a lot of time here, not just playing, but decorating, and I feel pretty passionate about a lot of it. But I don't, for me, I'm going to play the game as long as I enjoy it. If I stop enjoying it, if it starts feeling like a job, or say, for instance, whatever I have available to me now is all I'll ever have available to me, unless I was to top up money, then yeah, it might become a bit of a drag, because you still want incentives to play. And part of those incentives are having access to either new areas or new items, be it gear or cosmetic or whatever. If everything suddenly gets locked behind, spending more money than you already are for, your subscription or whatever, then yeah, that could be a drag. But like, for instance, I play World of Warcraft still. And there are a lot of things that they have in the cash shop, like pets and mounts, and I'm a pretty big collector. Um, there's a lot that I don't have, either because I just don't have access to them, either because I don't raid, or um, I just haven't had the luck of it dropping from like a retro raid or something. But like all of the mounts that you can buy or get through like refer a friend, yeah, I did that once, but it's not like I got hundreds of friends that I can keep referring one every time a new mount comes out. So there are always going to be items that I'm going to not have access to or miss out on. That said, I don't want everything to be like that. I think that's what a lot of people would hope wouldn't be the case. And I really don't think they'll go that way as far as locking everything. But for some, even locking one thing behind, be it rating or like the titles that we had when we were in beta, a lot of people get upset that, well, we'll never get to see those titles, and I'm an avid collector and I have to have it all. Then, for them, even having one thing unreachable is too much. That's the tipping point for them. They want access and availability to everything. And I'm kind of in the middle. I understand that there will be some things that I won't get a hold of, but I don't want that to be the case with everything. As long as that's not the case, then, and I'm enjoying the game, I don't see me leaving it anytime soon. It'll still be a big part. Okay, now you can see that I've laid out all of the little tray crate thingy, and it looks like there's more space here than there is here. Now, is that gonna bug me? Probably not, but it probably will. Who am I kidding? So what I could do is risk linking all the pieces together and trying to move it as one. Do I dare? We're going to try it. Carefully, slowly. Hope I'm not clicking that thing. At this distance, it's a little tricky. What I'm clicking or not clicking. Yeah, I was on number 3, so I think number 4. Number 5. You know, as far as, let me just close that down. People talking about the issues that they have and what they feel is wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but it helps those that are working on it if you also give suggestions or ideas of how you think it could be improved. If you say, well, the game's not working for me, that's not very constructive. You need to be more specific about what exactly it is. Is it just the graphics issues that are bugging you? Is it the lag? Is it the queue times? And there are a lot of people that do go into a good amount of detail and give really great feedback. But there are others that just give you a blanket kind of, well, this game sucks kind of thing, and it's like, well, that's not very helpful. And it's the same way with all of this talk about free to play and buy to play, or whatever those terms are. They'll go, well, I don't want it to do this, or I want it to go that way, and but they're kind of vague on the reasons why or why not. And then, of course, you have the two sides constantly bickering to one another as to the benefits of it, yay or nay. And I would just rather leave those arguments or those discussions till after something specifically official has come out of Carbine before we get all worked up. Because if anything, that just divides the community unnecessarily. And yeah, a lot of people can argue that a lot of that is Carbine's fault for being silent, but in many respects, they're probably not allowed to talk about it until everything's been approved and in place. I mean, just trying to get the word out, they probably want to do it in many ways all simultaneously, and that's a lot of stuff if you're going to tweet it and tweet it and put it on Reddit, and get it on the forums and on the little login page and on the website. All of that has to go in at the same time, and I don't know. I feel sorry for them, I guess. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, essentially. Okay, so now we're going to mess with the seating here. I had thought maybe I could figure out a way to do kind of like half moons or quarter rounds or something. But I think it's just going to be easier on me to just leave it as straight. It's 4 pieces. Nothing fancy. So I'm using the Exile human benches because while they do have some wood on them, the primary part that you notice is the metal top, which I like. It blends in with the rest of the decor that I've been using for the structure. So I'm going to be putting 4 around each. So we've got 3 here. That means I need 9 more. Nine. Yeah, my husband is home for the day. I guess he had I know yesterday was a holiday. The holidays here confuse the crap out of me because it seems like every time they turn around, they're celebrating some kind of a holiday, whether it be religious or some other reason. And he's been banished to the downstairs area. until I am done streaming for today. Because when he plays on the computer here, just across the way from me, his game sound and everything comes up on my microphone. Because again, I don't use a headset or anything. So he's downstairs. I can kind of hear the sound effects of the movie he's watching. I think he's watching something like The Town or something. I don't know. He watches weird stuff. He likes a lot of the war movies and like mafia shows, and I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm more into the like chick flicks, and like if he watches like The Godfather or something, then I'll let him be, and he watches that, and then later I'll go watch mine on like Pride and Prejudice or something, and so we got like a really mixed up, strange collection of films. Oops. Ugh, hate that. The one downfall of trying to place seats, constantly your character wants to sit on them. It would be nice if we could disable the functionality of these particular items until after we have finished placing them. You know, maybe at least have it disabled while you're in the edit mode. That way it wouldn't constantly have your character running around trying to sit on everything. And then of course you have the issue of sometimes your character will sit on it, and she'll sit on it right, and then the next time you go to sit on it, she's backwards. And that's kind of funky too. Now I'm kind of just throwing these in. They may be in the right spot, and others might not. So as I get into it, I'll sort them out a little better. Right now I'm just kind of trying to get them into the general vicinity of where they should be or where I want them. And then we'll tweak them as we need to. Yeah, the copy paste stuff, don't sit on it, is quirky. See, it works and then it doesn't work. Just like a gambling game or something. It might do it and then it might not. I just can't seem to figure out what triggers it always, because I can be in the same vicinity as something, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's just weird. Very unpredictable. But yeah, I'm hoping the news is good as far as what Carbine decides to tell us. And I hope it's not confusing. I guess what I mean by that is some announcements that they've made in the past, people get like mixed ideas or construe it differently. And it gets a little confusing for some when they're trying to figure out what the heck are they talking about. So I hope whatever they announce, it's clear and very informative. You know, don't just say, well, we're looking to make some changes in the next few months, and then just kind of leave it at that, because then we're like, what changes, you know? What specifically are you talking about? But that kind of thing. I don't want them leaving us No, while I understand that they're not going to reveal everything, every little nuance of detail about how they run their ship, I don't want it to be too vague.